From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
If you got hate in your heart, let it out. Miami, Florida State. Miami Hate Week, some people call it. I'm Aslan Hajavandi. That is Corey Clark, lead writer for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. This is Wake Up Warchant live. We are presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com is the website. Lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Friday. Chicken strip basket, chicken fingers, hand-breaded, tossed in a sauce of your choice. We're able to put on the side for you. If you don't want to come out for lunch, I don't know what you're thinking. But come out at 5 o'clock, live happy hour with Jeff Cameron and Corey Clark. Tom Lang will be there. I might be there. Gene Williams might be there. See how many cameos we can get from the entire Warchant.com fan. But that's going to go on 5 o'clock, so do come join us. Also, since it is Miami Hate Week, we love you. We're giving you 50% off an annual membership. It's the big game special. 50% off an annual membership for first-time subscribers over at warchant.com. No promo code needed. Just go to the website, sign up, join us. We are live, Corey. You know that.
Yeah, I do.
We are live. We're presented by our good friends over at Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it and take it. Energy with benefits. All the information above my head there. Corey Clark, how are you, friend?
I'm good, buddy. Probably better than you. You don't sound great. I know you're going to power through it because you're a tough dude, but you don't sound like you're at 100%.
Maybe I should pop a shot. Should I pop a shot?
A little immunity booster.
How about B14,000?
There you go.
I think vitamin C is where you want to be at, but maybe vitamin D will do some good for me here. But all right, we'll do that. Get a little bit going in here in the bones.
Notice he just shook it. Now he took it.
All right. I'm supposed to pick my buddy up at the airport. He wants to go out drinking. I'm like, yeah, probably not happening. I'll take you out to dinner though. But anyhow, let's talk about things. Taking your questions here on the YouTube chat, everybody, by the way. Everybody just, there's so much positive angst here, Corey. How does it feel? I know they're not where they want to be, but Florida State certainly is where they want to be. Does this game still have the amount of juice you're hoping for going into the season, despite the fact that Miami is 6-3?
Well, yeah. Combined, they're 15-3. These two teams. That's a good record. What were they last year? What were they 9-7 last year when they played? And the year before that, they were 8-8. So yeah, no, it definitely does. Because Miami's capable. Florida State's not favored by 30. This should be a real game. They're good on the line of scrimmage. It shouldn't be a cakewalk. And just the energy of that place. Like, it's the last chance we'll get to see Doak Campbell Stadium quite like this. Maybe ever, Aslan. Ira and I were texting about that because they're shrinking the capacity by 10 or 12,000 for next year. So it's going to be the last time you're going to have 73,000 people there. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rambunctious. It just gets you all fired up, man. That this game has these kind of stakes. Now, it's not game of the century because Miami's not undefeated, but it has enormous stakes for Florida State. And it's a rivalry game. And as I talked about earlier this week, remember the way the crowd reacted when Andrew Parchment caught that pass on 4th and 14. Buddy, that was a 3-6 football team that he caught that pass for. And it's still, the roof blew off the place. People care about this game. This game is always going to have juice. But when the stakes are this high, it's going to be ramped up even a little bit more.
Despite the fact that he doesn't know how to spell your name correctly, I'm going to pop Mike on the screen here, Corey. What is your singular favorite moment in this rivalry?
Remind me of that one in a few minutes. That's a hard one to be put on the spot and asked.
Let it percolate. All right.
So let it percolate a little bit.
A lot on the line in this game. Obviously, Florida State trying to keep their national championship hopes alive. Recruiting stakes also always up for grabs in this game. We'll have Michael Langston joining us near the 45-minute mark of the program to give us an update on who will be here and what's going to be going down. James B's already trying to bring me out of my shell. I have to be in my shell, Corey. I got to get healthy. But James B bringing the fire, man. $200 in the jar. Let's go, James B.
What?
Oh, James B should be there tomorrow night, I think, at corner pocket. He's a regular, obviously a pillar, but a regular at corner pocket. James B, thank you so much, man. Very, very, very kind of you.
Corey, give me some more, man. I can't do this all by myself tonight, but we appreciate James B. It did pep me up. He sees this game going very similar to the previous games this season, with FSU stretching it out late in the third and early fourth. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, it seems about that's how you kind of envision it playing. I mean, I think Miami will come out and play hard, and they might play well throughout. I don't know that I can't predict that they won't. But there's always the quit factor when it comes to Miami. We saw it last year in that game. Once they knew they couldn't move the ball, they kind of gave up on both sides of the ball. I don't see that happening this year, and I do think their defense is better. I think their line of scrimmage is better on both sides, much better, really. So should be a game, could be a game. But if their offense can't get anything going, you have to assume, much like the North Carolina game, by the middle of the third quarter, you're just going to kind of run through them. I think if it plays out that way, the defense might finally be like, well, what are we doing here? What are we doing? You can't score. He keeps giving them the ball. I'm going to stop trying as hard as I should. It's how it normally works when Miami is losing. I'm not saying it's going to happen this time, but you could foresee something like that happening.
So quitter DNA in there.
Yeah.
Also, there's some quitter DNA in them. Before we get any further, again, reminder, 50% off an annual membership over at warchant.com for first-time subscribers. We do our weekly over-under contest over at warchant.com, where you can win a $25 gift card to Garden and Gold if you win the contest. With that said, Corey, let's go to the Clark Sportsbook, Decula, Georgia, license 45965R, and get some lines. Like, give me some over-unders. Give me 6 or maybe 5, and I'll give us the 6 in the tiebreaker. When you think about this game, let's go. Give me some over-unders, Corey. What do you think? Offensively, maybe let's go.
I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Tyler Van Dyke passing yards.
Ooh, okay. What's the number?
I want to say 1.
Oh.
But, well, yeah, if he, we don't know if he's going to play, but I think most people, I'm going to say 150.
Oh, okay. 150. All right.
He'd average him like 160 the last 2 games, but he also might not play. He might be benched. He might come on in relief. Who knows?
We'll crowdsource some here too. Pop up your potential wants for an over-under and the prop and the number here in the comments. I might pull the best one as we brainstorm here together as a family. What else you think?
How about this one, Aslan? Shanna said we should do something fun and not just straight football. What about where the spear lands from Osceola and Renegade?
Well, here's the thing.
Minus.
I've got to pay attention to it. Like, I mean,
you
I can
will
go back and look at the stats afterwards.
You will. You'll pay it. We'll make sure to pay attention to it.
Okay.
We're going to say the home 48 is where the horse is coming from, where Renegade is riding from. That end zone is the home side. Where he's running towards is the visitor side. Okay. Now let's flip that, because the home side is where the students are.
Right.
Home side is where the students are. The other side is the visitor side. I'm going to say visitors 48-yard line, over under where the spear gets planted. Because look, I know you're all thinking midfield. It ain't always the 50, gang. It's where Renegade decides to get up on those hind legs. It's always it's always near the logo, but it's not always right there smack dab in the logo. So I'm going to say the visitor 48 is my over under on where the spear lands.
Which, if you're in the press box, that means it's the end zone.
To our
that would
right.
be the end zone further away from the students.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Shanna. You'll pay attention to this one, Corey. You'll let me know how
She'll
to grade
be there.
This one.
She's going to be at the game, so it's her job to remember where that thing landed. How about Jaheim Bell touches?
Okay. Give me the number, big dog.
7.
Ooh. Give me a hook. 6.5.
6.5. 6.5.
Okay. All right. Next, we got 3 down.
Tatum Bethune tackles.
Ooh, home.
I'm going to stay. No, I'm going to say 7.5 for that one.
Okay. That's
got to
4.
figure. I'm just throwing that out there because it's Miami has a running attack. They're going to try to run the ball. Bethune will be on the field a good bit. Over under Florida State takeaways for the defense.
Okay.
2.5.
All right. That's a good number. Jordan Travis rushing touchdowns, 1.5.
I mean, no, he's not. I mean, he hasn't had 2 rushing touchdowns in a game this season. So I would. How about Jordan Travis passing touchdowns?
Okay.
Over
2.5?
under 9. 8. Sorry, 8.5.
8.5. Okay.
No, let's do Jordan Travis. How about Jordan Travis total touchdowns?
Or with Johnny Wilson. You want to do Johnny Wilson?
No. I like this one. Jordan Travis total touchdowns 3.5.
Okay. There you go. I'll set the tiebreaker. We got Tyler Van Dyke passing yards 150. Where the spear will be planted, the visitors 48. It's going to be a great one. Jaheim Bell touches 6.5. Tatum Bethune tackles 7.5. Florida State defensive takeaways 2.5. Jordan Travis total touchdowns 3.5. Go enter. Podcast will be fine, but the people watching.
I think we should specify. So if he plants it at the 50, right at the 50, that's over. Right? I just want to get the rules right. And if he plants it closer, farther away from the band at the visitors 46, that's obviously under. So it's over is towards the students, under is away from the students.
Thanks again to James B. You're the best, dude. Melissa says over under how many times are now infamous goldfish shown on TV?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm not.
I would say 1.5. It's definitely getting on TV.
You think so? Okay.
How about our man that's always on the video board? That would be something we'd have to track. But the guy that's always standing, he's probably in his mid-50s, maybe 60 by now. The dancing guy that's been I bet he'll be on the video board 7 times.
He's definitely in his 60s. There's no way. You think he's in his 50s?
Well, I don't like to, as somebody that's older myself, I don't like to guess about stuff like that. But heck, 5 years ago, one of Brady's friends thought I was his granddad.
Oh.
So, he's like, why is your pop here? And Brady's like, that's not my pop, that's my dad. And then I pushed the kid to the ground.
Our guy Martin Peter coming from Germany. My favorite moment of the rivalry was the party after the 95 game.
With the FSU girls. Okay. All right, Martin. That's a good choice. I don't feel like that's all football related. But yeah, Florida State won that game big. Man, just the sentimentality of it. I'm going to say the 89 game at Doak at night. Leroy Butler intercepts the first. So it's a two-play stretch. It's not just one moment. It's 2 moments. Leroy Butler intercepts Toretta's first pass. And then the very next play, Dexter Carter goes around left end for a 37-yard touchdown run. Those back-to-back plays is probably as loud as I've ever heard Doak. Like if you watch the highlights, and I know we're talking about 35 years ago now, the camera shakes. It's so loud because obviously Florida State had lost to them 2 years in a row that cost them national championships. Florida State ends up beating Miami that year, and Miami wins the national championship anyway because that's how Florida State's luck worked back in the late 80s.
Matt Fryer touchdown.
Yeah, that's a good one. The Devin Bush one. The Devin Bush one's a good one, too. It was in the same game, 93, because even in that moment, Florida State was the better team. It was clear. But it was only 21-10 in the fourth quarter, and Miami had the ball. 6 minutes to go. After all the heartache in recent years, literally dating back to 87, longer than that, but when Miami was literally costing Florida State national titles, you were never convinced you were going to beat this team when both teams were good and ranked high. It just never happened. And then when Bush had the pick 6 to ice it, to put him up 28-10, well, then you could really celebrate. So that's a good one, too.
Okay. Corey, if you had to knock out a quick gamer, which that's what we call it in the business, everybody, just kind of a quick story recap of what happens in a football game, how many words do you think you would use just to knock out a quick gamer?
A quick 500, 550.
Okay. Go to our guy here, Dave in Bardstown. Bourbon is your friend. He was going to give me $10 had I read his question yesterday's show verbatim, but I didn't. So he's giving us $5, which is fair.
Thank you, Dave. Dave, I like this little the rivalry you and Aslan had.
It was 247 words.
Okay. All right. That is a lot. Dave, now in Aslan's defense, that is a bit verbose. That's a lot. We got to get to and we got to get to a lot of people. So I think that's where Aslan, plus Aslan's not a nice person. So when you mix all that together, sometimes he's not going to read your full question.
He's got so many didgeridoo jokes coming now. Buckle up, everybody. I'm sorry. You can read random_John's questions verbatim, but not mine. I mean, I guess in hindsight, I could have just been like, random_John basically wants to know, was a blood oath taken to sacrifice themselves and let the guys shine?
Dave, it's fair. It's a fair question.
Yeah.
It's a fair question.
In the moment, I didn't know how to wrap him up quickly. But we'll see, Dave. Dave, you got just sharpen it. You got 3. Just give us like I don't need 2 singles and a double. Give us the home run joke for the week. You know.
There you go.
But we appreciate you showing up, everybody.
Whatever your closer is, Dave. Give us your closer.
Let's see here. Chris Lee, the DeMarcus Walker extra point block, his favorite memory.
Yeah, that's a good one because the life got sucked out of that place so quickly. Like nobody misses extra points. Nobody has extra points to block. Not this day and age. This isn't the 1880s. All these kicks go through, and
they had a good kicker. That was a good kicker that Miami had.
Oh, and going back to the original question, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was. That said the over under with the Goldfish. Miami, she brought up the Miami kicker, and he is very, very, very good. He's got a thunder leg. That is a and Ryan Fitzgerald. Congrats to Fitzmagic. He's named a Lou Groza semifinalist. Yeah. He's missed 1 kick all year. He's been terrific. But Miami's got a legit field goal kicker. Which
he missed one though. I think he missed one last week.
It happens. It happens. Did he really? Well, that's not good. He might be spiraling. But yeah, the DeMarcus Walker, the block at the Hard Rock or whatever it was coined.
Block at the Rock.
That was a very big one too. That was a good one. I'm trying the Dalvin, the 14 game where Dalvin ices it. Dalvin puts him ahead with I think it's a screen pass. It might have been a draw. And then Ramsey's game. Ramsey had an incredible game that game. Mm-hmm. Think about that, man. Dalvin Cook scoring the game-winning touchdown. And then Jalen Ramsey is intercepting the final pass. It's a nice little stretch there for Florida State football.
Andre Cooper tiptoe in the corner of a 28-point quarter comeback.
Well, that was Florida. That was Florida. That was the choke at the doke. But that's a really good one too, man. I certainly remember that one.
And yes, Kelly, we still do go to the corner pocket on Friday nights. We do.
You don't have to ask that. And that's not just for football season.
Yeah.
That's every season. That's soccer season, tennis season, baseball, basketball. Friday night's where we're at. That's where we're at.
The 14 game, I was coming back either from Starkville or Oxford. I had to listen to that game on the radio. I listened to so many.
Right? I think they got down 16-0 in that game.
That whole year, 14, I was in Lorman covering an Alcorn State football game when they were playing NC State.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, every single game, people on the sideline probably thought I was an absolute lunatic. I mean, on the
they
sideline.
Must have gotten down by 2 scores in 7 of those games, 8 of those games. They were down by 2 scores the whole year.
No. Wasn't fun. Was not fun. Taking your comments here on the Wake Up Warchant live edition here on YouTube. Again, we'll have Michael Langston joining us here in probably about 20-25 minutes to talk some recruiting. Don't forget, we got plenty of content going up here on our YouTube channel, so subscribe to that. Subscribe to warchant.com, 50% off an annual membership if you're a first-time subscriber. Octavio says the most memorable, but for sad reasons, he was in the Marching Chiefs in 2002. I don't even want to finish a question.
Yep.
Or the comment. We were sitting parallel to the goalpost, and I remember starting to play the fight song until we realized.
Yeah, he missed it.
I think we're just going to go down memory lane. I don't have any questions today. I think we're just going to talk about our favorite memories. Jeremy, our guy down there in South Florida, Dalvin in 15, Baywatch running on the beach, sand kicking up everywhere.
Yeah, remember that? The sand behind him like he's Hasselhoff? That was nuts. Yeah, man. And he was coming off a hamstring injury. Like, we weren't even sure he was going to play because he sat the last 2 quarters against Wake because he pulled a hamstring. And he kind of had a hamstring issue all year, but because he's bionic, it didn't matter. And he had, 200 total yards in that game. Everett Golson was the quarterback.
So as we sit here and talk about this game, Corbin, do you still anticipate Miami starting Tyler Van Dyke, or have you convinced yourself, or is there a legitimate, logical reason to not start him? I mean, I know you mentioned on yesterday's show, like maybe have him come off the bench, like a la Chris Rick's 2004 Florida game. Where do you stand right now? You think in Miami's?
No, I think he will start, but I am not convinced of it. Because we've seen this sometimes in football where a quarterback just they decide enough is enough and he just doesn't play anymore. We're going to shut him down. He's not going to play. He's not. You even saw it. I know it's a completely different scenario, but Alabama, when they played at South Florida, was like, Milroe, you're not playing. You're not even part of the plan. You're going to go sit over here and watch. Van Dyke, his career has gone on longer, but I also think there's clearly more history there. And it could, relationships can get to a point where coaches just say, all right, man, we can't do this anymore. I'm not going to do this to you anymore, and I'm not going to let you do this to me anymore. So you can make the trip if you want, but you're not playing. Maybe all of this is pure speculation. But Van Dyke is not a senior, right?
I don't think so. He
might have told them he wants to transfer. He might have told them he plans to transfer after the season. And if he's already told them that, why play him? So there's all things that we don't know about, on top of the fact that he's clearly not healthy. Clearly, he just doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't throw the ball far anymore. He does a lot of dump downs. And if he's just checked down Charlie, then he loses most of his effectiveness. So I still think they'll give it a go. But if he doesn't play at all, it could be reasons like that. Like there's stuff going on behind the scenes where they're just like, he's not with us anymore.
Our guy, Island Chief, he's a subscriber, and now he's dropping bags.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Thank you, Island Chief.
Thank you, Island Chief. Thank you, man.
Has Florida State played their best game yet? Yes. LSU? But, I mean, listen, I don't think the next 3 weeks we're going to see anything better than that. First playoff game?
What would Wake? I think Wake's been their best game. I don't think Wake's terrible. I know it's Wake, but they were up 34-7 at the half and cruised. I thought that was a dominant effort without Johnny Wilson, a dominant effort. Yeah, probably they have, but the beauty about this team is, in my opinion, is you can't say that for sure. Like, we don't know that they've hit their ceiling. I think they've been close. We've seen them at their peak, but not for 4 quarters. Maybe they can string together.
Who does that though, Corey?
No, I feel like teams do it once a year. Like really good teams do it once a year, maybe. I think Georgia did it against Kentucky. I don't know that Ohio State's done it yet. Well, yeah, they did. That big one they had at Notre Dame on the final play. They just put it all together. Sometimes it comes all together. That's why you got to rank them number 1. They beat Notre Dame on the last play of the game. How can you not rank them number 1? So yeah, I don't. There's a better game out there for them to play. Doesn't mean they'll do it. Is that a nice way to put it? They can play better for a longer stretch, but I don't know that it'll happen.
Yeah, that's why I say that I don't think I think they have played their best game. I bet what they did against LSU. When you think about it now in its totality, and I get it, like, first play from scrimmage, LSU busts off a big play. Jordan threw, had some really weird moments in the first half, throwing the ball, decision-making. But when you look at the totality of that game and that opponent and that final score, and like, listen, man, LSU has lost games. They've lost to Ole Miss. They've lost to Alabama. I mean, those are all competitive games. Alabama was competitive until Jaden Daniels got knocked out.
They lost to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is like 10th in the country, right? And they lost to them by 5 points on the road. They lost to Alabama when they were leading at halftime, leading in the third quarter, I think. And Alabama's 7th in the country. Like, there's no shame in the other losses that LSU's had. None of them were like the one they had to Florida State.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
So listen, I really do. And I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago, and I'm not trying to jinx anything, but I'm not worried about geography. I think I'm more concerned about matchup if they get to a playoff. And I think, man, if Florida State can get by in the semifinal game, I think they will win a national title. I just think that semifinal game is going to be so tricky. It's going to help out Florida State, obviously, to have 3 weeks to get healthy and to game plan. You really like the thought of Mike Norvell having that much time to get ready. But, man, you also think about, like, man, if they had Kirby in the first round, like giving Kirby 3 weeks to figure out how to slow down this offense, you feel like he probably could be the guy that would be able to do that. I just feel like if Florida State can get past the semifinal, then you're kind of back to square one where it's like, all right, it's a game week. You've got 1 week to prepare. Really like Florida State's chances in that sort of situation.
All right.
So, yeah, I think the semifinal game, we might see another kind of surge out of them, much like we did the first game of the year against LSU. So that's what I keep my hopes up for. Thanks, Island Chief. We appreciate it. Dave in Bardstown's back with $5 more in the jar. Appreciate you, guy.
Dollar bills, y'all.
He's got so much love to give, he says. I'm sorry. Corey, can you explain to Jeff Cameron why Fentrell Cypress is the Don Beebe of 2023? I'm counting on you.
And then he said he had so much love. You already read that. Yeah, he's got too much love to give for you, Aslan. So I don't know what's this in reference to. As far as I know, it's Jeff Cameron. But if he didn't understand the reference, Don Beebe famously, I guess maybe not that famously, if Jeff Cameron doesn't remember it, ran down Leon Lett in the Super Bowl when the Bills were playing the Cowboys. And I think it was a blocked. It was either a fumble or a blocked field goal or something. But Leon Lett.
The blocked field goal was against the Miami Dolphins on Thanksgiving.
That's right. That was Leon Lett doing something else dumb. And Leon Lett was an incredible defensive player. But he's remembered mainly for these two things. In the Super Bowl, the Cowboys were winning anyway by 30 points. The game was over. He's running back a fumble. He's at the 10-yard line. He's holding the ball up, kind of high-stepping this 300-pound defensive tackle. And Don Beebe, who was very, very fast, one of the faster guys in the NFL, had tracked all the way down from the end zone and caught him at the 2-yard line, ripped the ball out, and he fumbled it out of bounds for a touchback. So much like Fentrell Cypress. But, man, it'd be something if Fentrell was as fast as Don Beebe was. Holy moly.
A couple people answering this question. And again, thanks, Dave. Appreciate you, man. Somebody asked in the chat. People are kind of chiming in. I think this is just shows you how far ahead I think Florida State is right now of Miami. But is there a single player on Miami that you're concerned about? A lot of people saying Ruben Bain.
Yeah, man, he's an animal. Lineman. But the thing with that, though, and yes, you're concerned with him. I don't know that Florida State, because they're so multidimensional, could ever let one dude just wreck a game. If Ruben Bain's giving you trouble, run it to the other side of where he's not, you know what I mean? Or do quick passes where defensive tackles, a defensive lineman in a period don't have a huge impact on it. Throw fades to your two NFL guys. I don't know that there's anybody that can impact the game. Who I would say, honestly, my scenario for Miami scoring a bunch of points or scoring enough points to win is Restrepo. That guy's the real deal. He's a slot receiver. By nature, slot receivers are very tough to cover. Because, number one, your best corners aren't usually covering the slot guy, and they're mismatches, and he is a mismatch. He is a big-time player. I don't know if he's going to have an NFL career. I know Berrios did. It still does, and I think he's better than Berrios. But he's a really good football player, man, and they throw to him a lot. He's their go-to guy. So that's a guy that if he gets going and has a big game, it can move the chains. He's a chain mover. I don't know that he's going to have 3 80-yard touchdowns, but he's one of those guys that you could look up, if they're playing well, could have 11 for 150, and 10 of those are first downs. He's just a chain mover. And so if they're playing well on offense and he's having a big day, number one, it keeps the ball away from Florida State's offense, but also it gives them a chance to go score. So I think Restrepo is the one that scares me the most.
All right. Don't be scared. Be in a good mood when you watch this game on Saturday, everybody. If you need some help, go to VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code WarChant BOGO, WarChant BOGO. Buy one, get one free if you're a first-time customer over at VitaminEnergy.com. It is the world's first and only clinically proven energy shot. I feel a little bit better. I don't know if I sound any better, Corey, but I think
you do. Yeah, it doesn't take long.
It doesn't, man. In fact, let me see here real quick.
Take another one.
Let me see here. 82% of the people that were involved in the clinical trial after 14 days agree that they felt energized very quickly after taking the shot and felt less fatigue throughout the day. Okay. So living proof, y'all. Living proof. Also, this sweet polo. Let me get a one shot here real quick, Corey. Let me get a one shot. Yeah. Check out that polo, Vitamin Energy. How about our new mic flag with the Wake Up Warchant logo on there?
Oh, yeah. Look at that. And you got the little, what's that thing above the mic there? The
pop filter. So now when I say peas, when I say like pickles and peppers, it's not like boom. But people don't recognize it. No one's complimenting us yet on it. But we're doing the little things behind the scenes to make your watch experience all that much better. Make your daily experience that much better. Again, go to vitaminenergy.com. Promo code is WarChant BOGO. It's a Florida State alum who's helping you folks out, giving you that promo code, making things happen. Noles supporting Noles. It's energy with benefits. 260 milligrams of all natural caffeine. Take it wherever you go. Take it before the game. Take it after the game. vitaminenergy.com. Promo code WarChant BOGO. BOGO. All right, everybody's starting to pick up now here. Of course, this is good. I was like, man, we're just going to sit here and just talk about our favorite Miami memories all single day. We got Leo Nole here, $20 in the jar. Maybe law enforcement Nole, perhaps? Because a Leo looks like an acronym. Happy Miami Hate Week, boys. I don't care if they play Van Spike, Van Gogh, or Van Halen at quarterback. Does not matter. 44-17 Noles.
There you go. There you go. Well, if they had 4 guys at quarterback, that would be difficult to defend, even though they're all 70 now. They all alive? Is everybody in Van Halen alive?
No, man. Eddie passed away a few years ago.
Eddie
remember?
passed away. I thought he did, and then I'm like, no, you're just imagining that. That's a bummer, man. You know, famously, he played on one of the huge Michael Jackson hits.
Beat it.
Beat it. Okay, there you go. Yeah, talented dude. Really talented dude. Sad. Van Spike, I forgot that's what that was his nickname after that. Inglorious way he ended the game 2 years ago.
Which, by the way, where's our guy? Where's our guy that corrected Corey and was like, he didn't say inglorious? Because I went back and I got the clip and I played it at the end of that show, Corey.
So I did think he said inglorious.
He did. He did say inglorious.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I was right. All right, good.
Our guy convinced us that he said ignominious end to the game, but no,
which is more of his style, quite honestly. I wasn't surprised to hear something like that. But okay, he says 44-17. That would be something. Not saying it can't happen. Again, I think so much depends on how Miami starts the game, because you could run them off the field if you get a 2-score lead and then they have another 3 and out, or Van Spike throws one to your DBs and they might just say enough of this. So, but if they're in a game now, it could be dicey there in the second half. They do have some talent.
You know, the folks down at Kane Sport have been, gracious enough to give us a lot of their time this week to talk about the matchup. Nice guys. I think they see life through a very rosy prism of their favorite football team that they cover, but they're pretty convinced that Miami does not have quit in them. That's the one thing that they do feel confident about this year versus last year is that, I think Matt Shodell said that they got rid of 41 players off that team last year that essentially quit against Florida State. They just feel none of them, Matt Shodell, Gary Furman, like, listen, I'm not going to get in front of you and tell you that Miami's going to win.
Right.
It's possible, but I don't think they're going to win, but they're not thinking they would quit on them though.
And you've already seen it this year, right? Again, I will keep bringing it up. The way they lost that Georgia Tech game is enough to lose a locker room forever. You're lucky they even showed up at practice on Monday and watched film on Sunday. That was so bad that you could understand they're almost becoming a mutiny. And so for them to come out and beat Clemson 2 weeks later, I think says a lot about them. And so I agree with that. But I'm just saying that Florida State has a way, even not programs that have the DNA of quit in them like Miami has had in the past. Florida State can have a way, and it's done it here recently, where these teams have kind of said goodnight pretty early in games. Wake Forest did it in the second quarter. Pitt did it in the third quarter. Duke did it in the fourth quarter. But all of them eventually say, yeah, go ahead, man. We're done. So Florida State could do that even irregardless of, I know that's not a word, regardless of Miami's past quit games.
Yeah, it's as you said, it's human nature, right? It's human nature. We've busted our balls for the last 3 quarters and we only have 10 points on the board. We can't score. I give up. Jen Fari, $5 in the jar. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
I'm supposed to play dollar bills, y'all. $10 gets you the air horn. You're lucky, Jen. Do you think Jordan Travis will need to run much in this game against Miami?
I think it's always good when he runs. I don't know if he will, but the offense is just so much better when he can run. So I'll leave it at that. Now look, and I will point this out. This has nothing to do with what we saw in practice, because in practice he's never running, so it doesn't matter. But at the end of the game against Pitt in the fourth quarter, he was limping to the sideline, pointing at his knee. So we don't know how 100%. I mean, he looked fine in practice, but again, he's not running full speed away from Reuben Bain in practice. So I assume he's healthy enough to run around and do Jordan Travis things. But because that makes this offense, especially when you have 4 and 14 with him, it makes this offense really, really hard to stop. If he could, it's such a first down mover, Aslan. It's just a chain mover. I don't need a 70-yard run from Jordan Travis. I need a 7-yard run on 3rd and 4. That's what you need, man. And that's what he can give you. So you hope that element is there.
And you feel like, I think Miami might be stout enough.
I don't think you're going to run on them traditionally, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's going to be – you might bust one or two, but, man, they're good up front. They don't give up a lot of rushing yards, and you don't run well traditionally. At least you haven't this year. So that's not a good matchup for you. Jordan Travis is the great equalizer if he's actually running and healthy and doing Jordan Travis things.
Yeah, and it only takes one or two read option plays where he keeps it that, at that point you're reminded, and then you have to think about it for the next 65 snaps of the game, and that's where the real problems start happening if you're Miami. So, maybe that should have been one of the over-unders, like Jordan Travis rushing attempts, but too late. It's already been set. Thanks, though, Jen. Appreciate you. Big Pat Vickers in the house.
Dollar bills, y'all.
What's up, Patrick? Thanks, man. $25 in the jar.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. We appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Solid avatar too, man. Look at that. Look at that suit. Crisp suit.
Look at that smile.
Yeah, radiant.
Just a guy having fun, loving life.
Might need to stow this one away for 3 weeks from now, Patrick, but we'll talk about it because you put $25 in our faces. Do you think Daryl Jackson will have a big impact during the playoffs for the Noles?
I like that it's a certainty. He's already writing it as if they're in the playoffs. Love it, Patrick. I love that confidence. Yeah, man. Yes. He's very, very good. And I don't even want to name the people that I'm thinking of, but let's say the rotation shrinks by one or two guys that are playing a lot now at defensive tackle, and instead it's just Farmer, Fisk, Lovett, and Jackson. That's a monstrous interior. That's because he, at least when we saw him in the spring and then in portions of August, he was the best defensive tackle they had. And you've seen how good Fisk is. And obviously we know what Lovett is. So he would be a big deal. Now, I don't know, man. How many snaps would he play, Aslan? 27? He's not a big enough. It's not like you're getting an NFL wide receiver out here that can change the scoreboard. He wouldn't make an impact where, like, you were going to lose to Georgia by 10 points, but now you beat them. It's not that big of an impact. It's just it's a great depth piece, and it would be it'd make you a lot harder to run on, and you're already pretty hard to run on. But he would play 25 snaps, probably 30, maybe, right?
I mean, listen, that 3 weeks is going to do everybody good. But man, I can't. I'm sure there's somebody that this has happened, but I mean, you talk about fresh legs from a really important. No one is going to feel as good as Daryl Jackson is going to feel physically if they play in a playoff game, right?
But I think everybody would be revitalized and injected with health in a burst and everything after a 3-week layoff. I would love to see him in Charlotte. I think he would stick out like a sore thumb how fresh and active and athletic and strong and fast he looks compared to everybody else on the field. Those Louisville guards, I assume it's going to be Louisville. They play tonight. If they win, they have a very good chance of getting there. They wouldn't know what to do with 14 because he'd be shot out of a cannon.
But they want to playoff Daryl Jackson. We don't get him in the.
No, I know. I'm just saying with the 3-week layoff, I don't think it will be as noticeable how fresh he is as it would be at the end of a 13-game season before the break. I think it would be very noticeable.
Okay. Shout out to Ed Lemix. He says he finally took advantage of the Vitamin Energy Warchant BOGO, bought the variety pack, took the workout, went to the gym. Wow. It is great. DeLuna Coffee is also great too, everybody. Check them out. They sponsor the post-game show that'll be going down with Gene Williams and Tom Lang 10 to 15 minutes after the game. Pre-game show, 12:30, Jeff Cameron, Tom Lang atop the Hotel Indigo in College Town. Yeah. So come check that out. Ed, glad you liked it. It's almost cocoa season here at the Midtown offices.
Ooh.
Some of that DeLuna hot.
By the way, did you see Ed and Courtney at Corner Pocket the last time?
Yeah, I sure did.
Hey, Ed, Courtney, looking great. Not trying to step on toes, Mr. Lemix, but both of you guys are looking fantastic. Keep it up. That was good to see.
Brian noticed my pop filter. Says it's the best damn pop filter he's seen all week.
Thanks, you go, Brian.
I appreciate the heck out of you, man. We're gonna have Michael Langston coming up here in a few minutes to talk about recruiting, but we got some other questions to get to here as we wind things down here.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Mark Perez, $5 in the jar. Thanks, Mark. He says, "Wake up, or shall I say good night?" Corey, looking good as always.
Thanks,
and of course, Aslan, my fellow Pinellas County Nole. Amen, brother. 727. Rep it. Over under Braden Fisk sacks 1.5.
Well, I would say under. I think he's only got the one on the year. But with
Though.
pressures, and also with a quarterback that kind of, at least how he looked last week, is looking for a place and a reason to fall down. As soon as Fisk is pushing somebody into his lap, you might get yourself a sack or two, because if that is Van Dyke playing, he looked very willing to go hit the ground pretty quick. He did not want to move out of the pocket. He couldn't. So I think interior pressure could be a really big deal in that game if he's playing.
Benjamin Tukert. He told us one time how to pronounce it. Forgot it. Love you though, Benjamin. Would you rather get Ohio State first or chance a back-to-back encounter in the playoffs with Georgia and Michigan? Yeah, give me Ohio State, man. I'm not call me arrogant. I think I'm informed. I'd rather right now, as it stands, like I'm fine being 4 if Ohio State's 1. I'd rather have them and then let Michigan and Georgia beat up on each other. But it's not going to be that way because we don't think both Big Ten teams get in.
But again, when it comes to matchups, yes, I think Georgia's the one you want to avoid if you can, clearly. But Ohio State is absolutely beatable. They're gettable. We don't know about Michigan because they haven't played anybody. We'll find out a lot about Michigan this week, if they still are allowed to have a football team. We'll see what the Big Ten does, what kind of punishment they dole out. But, Ohio State, man, I don't think you're scared of them at all, even if you're playing in Columbus. I just don't want to go to California. I'd rather be in New Orleans than Houston. That's just selfish me. But, yes, I think Aslan's right. If you're a Florida State fan and you want them to win a national title, I would think the easier route is, if you're in the playoff, to get Ohio State first, and then Michigan and Georgia or whoever it would be. I guess there's a chance Michigan could still, but they wouldn't be. Anyway, I get my brain hurts when I start to think about it. You'd rather play Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't think both. I mean, it happened last year. Both Big Ten teams got in, but I just don't see it happening this year with all the either undefeated or one-loss Power 5 champions. Because remember, last year, Pac-12 champion had 2 losses. Big 12 champion that was TCU. They ended up getting in there despite losing. So those are the sort of things that happen. Ray Green, ACC title game doesn't count as postseason ? It does, but Darrell Jackson's not eligible until the next semester turns over, which won't happen until after the ACC championship game. So it's not a regular season eligibility issue. It's a semester academic calendar year, and it doesn't flip until after that first week in December. So he can't play in Charlotte, but he could play theoretically in both your playoff games. So.
Can you not just put 99 on them? See if anybody notices.
I love you,
Malcolm Ray. I love you, Malcolm Ray, but can't he just pretend to be Malcolm Ray? Nobody checks under those helmets.
Ed says that Courtney loved you, by the way, Corey, but what shows love more than Mr. Benjamin Franklin showing up?
Nice.
Thank you, Ed and Courtney. Again, loyal, diehard Noles, DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Check them out. Post-game show, Tom, Gene, again, you're ready.
Hey, Courtney and Ed, I did not say that to elicit any donation tips, but I'm glad that and I was not lying. You guys look terrific. Best looking couple in the bar, as far as I could tell. That's all I'm saying. All
right, let's talk about this one here, and then we'll bring Michael Langston on and talk some recruiting.
Much.
Yes, thank you very much, Ed. And Courtney. I think Courtney, she's the breadwinner.
Courtney came from the heart.
Yeah. Corey Bates knows how to spell the name Corey.
Yeah, he does.
How thankful are you that, Sharon and John went with the Corey? Imagine if I can't even look at you if you'd been a Cory.
I was thinking about that. It just looks lazy.
It does.
Like you couldn't throw an E in there. It just, I think my whole life goes a different direction if I'm Cory. Bates knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. $10 in the jar. Thank you, Corey Bates. We'll give you a little soundtrack. With how well second half adjustments have been made, does it seem we can win over any team if we don't let it get out of hand in the first half? Also, has Ja'Kai now asserted himself to our third best target?
Well, no. Well, I assume you're not counting the tight ends. If you're not counting the tight ends, then yeah, sure, because no other receiver has really done much of anything except Ja'Kai in that game on Saturday, and he had a great game. So sure, I would say Jaheim and Morlock are 3 and 4, and then you go back to whoever the fifth receiver is. And yeah, that's a good point about the second half adjustments. They've been terrific. The one team, the one game that they struggled was the Boston College game. That's it. All the other games, again, Clemson scored 7 points after halftime. Wake scored, I think, 9, but it didn't matter. They were down by 30. Go on and on. Duke, none of them do much after halftime. And your offense always seems to find itself at some point in the game where it's going to stack multiple touchdown drives together. Even Pitt, without any receivers, when it mattered, I think they scored on 3 straight possessions to put that game away. So it's kind of what they do. Yeah. Now, Georgia and Ohio State and Michigan and Washington and teams like that, Alabama maybe, they're not as easy to adjust for as some of these other schools. But yeah, this coaching staff has proven to do a really good job at halftime.
Still feels like even if Florida State, I can see this like in my mind's eye. Like, again, I mentioned it earlier in the week. Like we're not comparing this team to 2013 anymore, but I could see that moment where they're down at half in a playoff game and the nation starts dancing on the grave and saying like, look at them. They didn't play anybody. They're down 24-10. They're frauds. And then this offense finds its life. And then, the defense gets enough stops and you eke out maybe like a 31, 27 win or however you want to add the math up there. I just still think that no matter how this offense is played throughout the 60-minute football game, and I don't think they're ever going to play a perfect game, at no point would I ever be an opposing team and think that Florida State's dead. Yeah. Just not with this offense and the amount of playmakers they have. So even if they do go sideways in the first half, this team, that quarterback, these receivers, there's no way you would count them out. So
let's hope we get to that point, Aslan, when we're in a playoff game. That's all we're looking for now.
All right. Well, hey, let's talk about some real stuff, some reality, recruiting. And for that, we turn to Michael Langston. He is our recruiting analyst over at warchant.com. Y'all know him. Let's bring him on in here right now. Big weekend for the Noles, taking on Miami. Michael, how are things in the recruiting world right now for Florida State?
Very good. Very busy. Certainly have been an active week for me, and we're expecting, certainly a massive weekend. I've shared this with several people. Since I've been working at Warchant, this will be the most talent I've seen on campus in history overall, based on what I'm seeing from guys that are expected to be here this weekend. So it's going to be massive.
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement, Michael.
Yep.
Incredible. How about this? We got a question from Antoine Stone. How much would beating Ohio State help with landing number 1 receiver in the country? Is he the number 1 guy, or is it the Cam Cameron fellow? But Jeremiah Smith, how would this help out Florida State if, Ohio State, how much
lost
would
to
beating
Florida State
game?
in the playoff?
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a dramatic thing. I think really what FSU just has to keep doing is winning and showing their product on the field. Jeremiah is a big fan of Keon Coleman. So if Keon goes out there and certainly has a big game, I think that alone has a bigger effect. And I think just keep doing what you're doing. The relationships they're doing with him is working. I think it's a very real thing that his main coach, Brian Hartline, gets a head coaching gig. I think that's a real possibility. And if that does happen, this dramatically shifts, Aslan, as far as with FSU and their chances. But overall, I think they just have to keep doing what they're doing.
Who are some of the names? I'm sure there's a full list over on the premium recruiting board, warchant.com. Again, if you're not a subscriber, join for the first time. If you haven't done so, you get a 50% off an annual membership. I mean, you talked about the amount of talent that's going to be there. Is there a certain position or a couple names you can give us, Michael, that really get everybody excited?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons. I mean, I think the main guys I would focus on, Osman Chromo. That's a guy, 2025 running back. I mean, he is just the full package. He's something they don't have. 215 pounds, Corey, runs around the 4.5, 4.4 40. Really good in the passing game. He is a tremendous prospect to have on campus. They have several 5-stars at receiver. Jamie French, 2025. That's the guy they're trying to flip from Alabama. And then, of course, we talked about Jeremiah. He's a big one. They also have 5-star Cam Coleman, who was at the Seminoles Showcase. So those are just a few of them. I'll put it this way, guys. They have 10 5-stars that are expected on campus. 10 5-stars. Well heavily in the digits of double digits on top 100 kids. A lot of flip candidates. Wardell Mack's going to be there, defensive back, 4-star DB. Kai Bates, who's committed to LSU. He's expected to be there. 4-star linebacker commitment for Michigan, Jaden Smith is also going to be there. I've heard some, positive things with FSU trending, working hard on that one. So that's just a glimpse of some of the guys, but it's completely insane and loaded.
Michael, will are most of the high profile commits for Florida State be there too? Like, I assume
Yes.
they want them here to talk to the uncommitted guys about why they want to be Florida State Seminoles.
Right. KJ Bolden will be there. Charles Lester, a lot of the offensive linemen will be there. I know I've told people at the beginning of the week, Luke Cromhawk can't be there because he's playing his playoff game on Saturday.
Give me a break, Luke. Do you care or not about Florida State, Luke?
Well, I'm fixing you. Let me your
okay,
segue.
Sorry.
I'm leading into it, Corey. He actually petitioned the AD to change the game so he could be to go to the Florida State Miami game. He actually petitioned that. He told us that story. But unfortunately, they have to play their playoff game. But Luke is going to be in communication with a lot of recruits after the game, even before the game, as much as he can. But outside of that, I think a lot of the commits are going to be there. Ricky Knight, KJ Bolden, Charles Lester, BJ Gibson, Elijah Moore's coming all the way from Baltimore to see this game. So they will have the majority of the FSU commits on campus.
What's going on here? Did he lose his 5th star?
Yeah, not on this network, but another outlet kind of mucked up the 5-star on there because they had him a little bit lower, so it evened out to 4. So he's just a hair under that 5-star, but I think one big push in the rankings and one little slight push, and he's going to be back as a 5-star.
I know you used the F word earlier, but the one that the FCC allows us to use here, Michael, and that's flip.
Yeah.
Would it be like a 72-hour thing? Like, would the high of a win, would that create the flip, or is it still something that would probably be stored in the back of this young man's head, and then once December rolls around, they make their flip?
I think more of the latter, more of they might indicate to FSU if everything goes well that, hey, I'm likely coming, dude. But I'm not ready to announce it. But I think it's sort of that. I wouldn't even go all the way to December. It could be, a week or two for some guys, or it could be just publicly you jump and go. I think it really just depends on the kid. Each one's different. I think there's several, flip candidates that I've mentioned in there. Another one is Xavier Lucas. He's a safety from Patrick Surtain's old school in American Heritage. They like a lot. He's committed to Wisconsin. I think that's one that I'm very high on. That likely happens. It could even happen, this weekend if everything goes well. But I think with a lot of these commits, they're going to be or flips. It would be, probably a later, whether it's November or December. But it's certainly they would take time to kind of decipher everything that's happened from that week, because it's going to be an electric atmosphere that a lot of these kids have not seen before. When it's FSU Miami, it's a different level.
So, yeah, there you go. Seminoles for the win 23. He was asking Michael who he believes has the best chance of flipping within the next week or two. Xavier Lewis, one of those candidates. One of those candidates.
Yes. And by the way, I know Island Chief, I see the comments. Yes, Landon Thomas will be there, top tight end commit. So, yes, he will be there.
Yeah.
So,
he's just right down the road, right? He's just an hour away, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 5 minutes. Yeah. I've been there like 8 times this year.
Nice.
So.
Yeah.
As we sit here right now, Michael, how many 5-stars do you think Florida State winds up with? I mean, where are they right now? I know KJ Bolden's obviously one. Luke was at one point. Where do you think Florida State, if we gave you a number 3.5, do you think they get 3 or more 5-star commitments in this class?
I'd say 3 or 4. I think it's a distinct possibility. I did, for people who can go on the PRB, I did kind of what I'm hearing leading into the weekend type of thing. And I kind of rated where the chances of a flip are likely. I mentioned Jeremiah Smith. That's one that I'm certainly focused on. I think Kai Bates is another one that I don't feel like he ends up in the LSU class, at least right now. Now, it could happen, but I think that's one that, and I think the most intriguing one for me is the kid that's committed to Florida, 4-star DB Wardell Mack. His kid, the team he's committed to, is playing LSU in his hometown. And he's going all the way to Tallahassee to watch FSU play Miami. I think that's significant. That's a significant development when you're talking about, and LSU's been the team that we've heard that, there's buzz around, Wardell back with. So I think that's an interesting thing. So I think all these guys, there's a chance. So now I would say with Cam Coleman, I think he ends up at Auburn. For those that don't know, Phoenix City, Alabama is basically 10 minutes away from Auburn. He's been there the most times. He's committed to Texas A&M, but if he was going to flip, I would say Auburn. But I think the rest of them, I think there's a very legitimate chance.
All right, there we go. Michael Langston breaking it down for you folks when it comes to recruiting. Everything he talked about and plenty more over at the Premium Recruiting Board, right, Michael?
You got it.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate the information, man. You're the
Thank you,
man.
man.
All right, there we go, man. Michael Langston. Oh, did I cut you off too early? Want to say something? All right. Yeah, all right. You're good. All right. I was sorry. I'm, just it's the dump button in me from working in television. It's just like, get out earlier rather than later there.
Always leave them wanting more.
Exactly. Go to the Premium Recruiting Board, warchant.com. Use that no promo code. And you just go to the website. You will be able to get a 50% off an annual membership if you have not signed up before. So that is really good. Corey, I mean, when you hear like 10 5-stars, I mean, that's like the last hurdle. I didn't like using that word, but maybe like the last box to check off Mike Norvell's resume right now in terms of what he's done here at Florida State. He's changed the culture. He's, brought the expectations back to standard back. If he can now start getting these kind of blue chip elite guys straight from high school, that really, that supercharges everything around the program, feels like, right?
Yeah, you're right. And it's a, look, we all know how important the portal is. We all know how important it's been to this program, but you still need the guts and the nuts and the bolts and the bones of your program to come from this route, to come from, high school recruiting. That's where 70% of your roster will be, 60% of your roster will be, as high school recruits, and the great ones, most often the great ones, stay with you. You know what I mean? Like Keon Coleman left Michigan State, but he left Michigan State. When you're Florida State and you recruit at this level, they don't typically leave because where else are you going to go, man? Florida State is a destination program. So with that said, I think Mike Norvell has proven he can call plays. He's proven he can build a culture. He's proven he can convince portal kids to come, and he's proven he can develop talent. Now he's bringing in talent, high school talent. That was, like you said, kind of the last hurdle to check, the last box to check off to make sure that he was an elite coach. And what are they at? Were they fourth in the country in recruiting rankings right now? Like he's checking every single box, Aslan. Now look, all this goes out the window if they lose Saturday, gang. I get it. But he is checking off these boxes, man. He's got Florida State 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago now, whatever it would be. You had the number one kid in the country committed to you that, basically took a big heaping dump on your hat when he committed to Deion Sanders. And now here you are. You've won 15 games in a row. You've got the fourth recruiting class in the country. Like this is big time. This is good stuff. These are good days to be a Florida State Seminole for sure.
Shout out to Ant, $2 in the jar. Let's beat Miami 45-3 again.
That would be nice. That'd be something.
That'd be splendid. That'd be splendid. Almost as splendid as that. He's a pillar. His name is Joel Davis. Show respect.
Sweet, sweet Joel Davis.
300 American in the jar. There's a reason his name is etched on this granite pillar that is beside me right now, everybody. He's the man. Joel Davis. Also, can I say it out loud? Bowden Society member?
I think so. I don't think that they're anonymous.
All right.
Maybe they are. I don't know. Are they anonymous? I don't know.
They give them a pin to show themselves off,
That's true. That's right. That's right. So Joel D, thank you very much, man. That's very, very, very kind of you. I'd like to see you again at some point. Come on by Corner Pocket one of these days.
Come on by the tailgate on Saturday.
Yeah, I might be there.
Are you? Maybe, bro. Come on. Definitely.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Hotel Indigo.
Oh, I'm talking about Big Keith.
Yeah. No, I'll be at that tailgate for sure. Come on by that one, buddy. Come on by that one.
All right. Don't forget, big game special, 50% off an annual membership over at warchant.com for first-time subscribers. Apparently, maybe even second-time subscribers. Seminoles FTW says that he's back and got the promo code somehow. Over-under contest will be up and live probably like tomorrow morning. I'm going to rest after this, everybody. But if you're listening to the podcast, it'll be up. courtesy of the Clark Sportsbook. Oh, shoot. Speaking of the Clark Sportsbook, we got to talk about the other sports, but we got to talk about mybookie.ag. Promo code there is Warchant. Instant cash deposit bonus, Corey. Feel good about our picks on yesterday's show. Do you think when we reconvene, you will have usurped the lead from me, or do you think we'll be tied, or will it hold steady?
Look, man, I don't really care how your bets go. I just know I'm going 2-0. I'm focused on myself. I'm not focused on you and what you say. I'm just focused on my own bets and going 2-0 again this week.
You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere over at mybookie.ag. Again, when you use that promo code WARCHANT, when you sign up for the first time, you'll get an instant cash deposit bonus. There's a live casino, live in-game betting, futures also available. Let's see if there's anything worth. Let's see here. Kentucky in Lexington getting 11 against Bama.
I mean, no.
What does it mean that Michigan now is a 4.5-point favorite when it was 4 the other day, Corey? Does that mean more people coming in on the
I think it means more people are betting on Michigan, so they had to bump it up a little.
Man, there's something about I don't even know, man. I had this whole monologue I wanted to go off on just about what Jimbo Fisher did in 13 and 14, despite all the noise, and what Jim Harbaugh is going to try to do now, to where you got to admire it. If you're that fan base that
if they win,
yes,
that's a big if right now. Their two toughest games are in the next 3 weeks. So if they come out of that looking great and beating the crap out of those two teams too, then all the glory to Jim. It's
just how, can you imagine trying to keep everybody on schedule, on task with everything that happened in 13 and 14? And if you're in Michigan right now, they're pulling up information on Connor Stallions, apparently having an LLC with a player on the team and money's being laundered and funneled. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Selling vacuums out of his house. That story too. It's crazy.
It is absolutely bizarre. All right. How about another ACC game? North Carolina State at Wake. Wake giving out 2.5. I think I'll take North Carolina State 2.5 on the road. Maybe they found something. Although they got a new quarterback now, right? MJ Morris mailing it in.
Yeah, and Wake's getting 2.5, even though it's at Wake.
Yeah.
Ooh,
you want to change your pick?
No. I would never touch this game in real life. I have no idea what to make of those two teams. But I would say I would like NC State. Yeah, I think NC State can win that game. Their defense is just so good.
All right, this one keeps moving around 14.5, 14, 15, Florida State, Miami. So anyhow, make your picks over at mybookie.ag. Again, that promo code is WARCHANT. Thanks, everybody, for being here. If you get the thumbs up on the way out, that would be super awesome. Thanks to Ant. Thanks to Joel Davis, pillar. Corey Bates, Ed Lemmix, pillar. Chris Lee was asking, Corey, what do you mix in the water you're always drinking?
Mio. And Vitamin Energy, but mostly Mio.
Yeah. Mark Perez, shout out. Patrick Vickers, Jen Fari, Leo Knoll, who did confirm, in fact, it is law enforcement. Knoll says he listened to us in the commute. Maybe, nice. I don't know if he was in the patrol car listening to us. Imagine if you're a perp in the back seat and you got to listen to us cracking jokes as you're on your way to the clink.
I hope you do. Maybe it'll turn their life around.
Dave in Bardstown, twice over. Thanks, man. Island Chief and James B. We appreciate the heck out of all you folks. Whether you're throwing dollars in the tip jar, just hanging out, hitting the thumbs up on here. It's really cool. We appreciate it. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock on Friday. Pre-game show with Jeff and Tom, 12:30. Hotel Indigo. Post-game show, Gene Williams, Tom Lang. Presented by DeLuna Coffee. Post-game wrap, the Vitamin Energy War Chant wrap with Corey and Ira. That'll be up on the website afterwards as well. Matchup analysis over on the website. The War Chant Report, powered by Cummins, up on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that.
Coach Speak is up right now.
Coach Speak, what's the name of you guys?
Jeff and I will be at Corner Pocket. At least Jeff and I will be at Corner Pocket tomorrow at 5 o'clock for a little meet and greet, happy hour hangout. So come and say hello. And you get 50% off an annual membership, and we're still creating 100% of the content and letting you enjoy it, folks. So thanks so much for hanging out here and dealing with my voice. He's Corey. For Michael Langston as well, we say thank you. I'm Aslan Hudjavandy for watching this edition of Wake Up War Chant Live, presented by the Corner Pocket and our great friends over at Vitamin Energy. Go Noles.